experience God calling me to religious life, initially I was incredibly enthusiastic and very excited about it. And then of course I fought for a little while with God, not totally trusting that the joy that I desired would be there, or even experiencing love, because as a person, we want to be loved by another person. And so I had always wanted to be married and have a family. So it's hard for me to trust that God's love would be enough without having a companion, like a husband, to walk through life with. So when I finally was able to understand more deeply that God's love would be enough, then I was finally free to say yes to the call. But then I had this huge obstacle in the way of a ginormous amount of debt from my years in college, over $94,000. And so I really had a choice to make. Was I going to trust that the Lord would take care of me, that His mercy could cover that and bring me through that tremendous obstacle? Or was I going to try to do it on my own? And I remember very intentionally going to the Lord and praying and saying, Lord, if this is what you want from me, then I need your help because I can't do it alone. And in less than a year and a half, there were a series of miracles that happened where people that I didn't even know came forward to assist me to pay off this debt so that I could be free to live this life for the Lord and for my brothers and sisters. So you never know what's going to happen when you enter religious life. And my second year as a novice, I actually ended up hitting my head. I had a pretty bad head injury. And it was a very challenging time for me personally, because before that, much of my identity and the way I related to God was rooted in what I did for God. And I wanted so badly to serve Him, to do so many things for Him, to take care of people, all sorts of things like that. And so when I was forced to pull back and to rest and to recover from this injury, I couldn't do as many things as I wanted to do. And I had to make a choice. Was I going to be drawn into this sadness and this depression of not being able to do things? Or was I going to trust that even in this time, God had a plan for me? And in His mercy, He helped me to understand that who I am is rooted in my relationship with Him, that I'm His beloved daughter, and that just the fact that I exist is enough, and that the power of prayer is so much bigger than I could ever comprehend. And so the Lord used that hard thing in my life to teach me this beautiful lesson about who I am to Him and how important prayer really is. A couple of summers ago, we had a terrible homicide very close to the mission, and a number of the children with whom we work regularly actually witnessed the homicide. It was very troubling for them. And as a sister, I immediately felt, what can we do to assist these children who have just experienced this tragedy in a very dramatic way? And so I contacted Catholic Charities, and they were incredibly generous to send 2 young women who are counselors that work with children out to the West Side to meet with these kids a couple of times. And it was incredible to see how the kids responded to them and to their time together, and just how good it was for them to have a chance to talk out what they had experienced and to learn some ways to deal with the deep sadnesses in their very young lives. And so it showed me how not only do we see God's mercy operate here in the neighborhood, but how as a church we work together to bring healing and wholeness to people who don't always have the ability to get those opportunities on their own. Seeing God's mercy in action here on the west side of Chicago, as a sister, encountering Jesus in the poor, seeing the tremendous brokenness of people, but also how powerful God's mercy is in their lives, even though they suffer so much, and how much hope they find in their relationship with the Lord is so edifying for me to see and to experience.